Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geneva Digital Market. Today we will start with the Swiss interactive sessions. This initiative is one of the flagship projects of the Geneva Digital Market, which each year since 2019 has put forward 10 Swiss projects in the field of media design, immersive arts, theater, dance, and visual arts. The aim of the project is to enable 10 Swiss creators to meet representatives of international institutions and art centers in order to facilitate the dissemination of their project abroad. We have the pleasure today to have a conversation with these artists participating in this year's program, and I'm happy now to give the floor to the moderator of the panel. Thank you. Laetitia Bochou. President of XR for Europe and also director of Virtua Switzerland, which is the Swiss network for extended realities. Laetitia, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Paola. Thank you also for a great selection of works, and I'm super happy and thrilled to welcome all the artists and the Swiss, the Swiss talents I may and can promote in the world. I'm very happy to have them here. We'll start with the RGB project. And first, Michael Gottschalk, Christophe Burgess, and Emilien Rossier, who will present their work, Brainwaves.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us here. It's great to be here with you. So, yeah, basically we're just three friends and who wanted to work together and create live immersive experiences for the public. And yeah, well, we had our premiere this weekend in Sierre. And this is a picture of the setting. So yeah, basically we wanted to create immersive experiences for the public, and Christophe is the artistic director of our company, not company, but association. And Emilia and myself are working on production, and I'm also helping Christophe with the writing. And so Christophe is the artistic director of the of our associations, and so we wanted to work as a theater association. So what we are doing is actually a play, a theater play. So it's not what VR experiences. Well, it's basically base location VR experiences. So our play is a play for 9 people, as you can see on the picture, who are positioned in a circle. The play starts physically, so what you see here is the middle of the play. And people are welcomed by an actor and are led into the setting, which you see here. And then we've got an actress who plays with a mocap suit and face tracking as well. And the public sees her, sees her virtual body, basically. And well, it's kind of a science fiction play. Basically, the actress has locked-in syndrome, meaning she's paralyzed but totally conscious in her paralyzed body, and the kind of cocoon you see on the picture is where she is at the beginning of the play, and once everyone has got the VR headset on, she comes out of it with a Rococo mocap suit and welcomes the public into her new virtual world, where she has a new virtual body which is functional. That's basically our play.
Maybe I can give a few words about how we produce this piece. So what is very specific is that we, as he said, it's a theater piece. So we got money to finance the project from theater funds from the Canton du Valais, but also from the Cineforum, which normally finance the cinema. And that makes this project very specific because we are thinking this production like a theater piece, but we build it like a multidisciplinary project actually. And when we will tour the production, it's the same. The creation process and the tour of the production is really based on the theater process and not a cinema process. And within the discussions we have had with the different partners, we see that's something very new for Switzerland, and that makes it also very interesting. And I give the word to Christophe, who will speak more about artistic
Yes, I'm not that good in English, so I'm going to try to tell something, but here you can see the stage setting. So we have also the speakers around, because I don't like headset for the headphone, because you can really understand music, but there you can feel the vibration of all the things happening in the
immersive music.
It's immersive music. We had a compositor on it.
Mm-hmm. Composer?
A composer who did all the music and the sound design.
That was Jamel Kensio?
Jamel Sensio, yeah.
Sensio, okay.
And then, yeah, this is a part of the play. So you can see the virtual stage setting. So we wanted to put all the audience in the same place physically and virtually. So they had all the seats. They can see the face of each other and see the avatar in the middle. And we can, this is a part more cinematographic. And it's a moment with a lot of music, a lot of special effects, and we can do everything. And I'm from theater, so it's very cool to do a lot of things because everything is possible. And we can, here we enlarge the circle.
Yeah.
So we can move the audience. We can move the audience inside the piece. So that was a very fun part because you can see a thing very different, in a very different perspective. In this part, we build like a 500 meter tower high. So that's very fun too because it's very impressive. And we can, and in this part, there is a platform who lift up the audience up and around the tower to the final scene. And another pictures, yeah, it's another example from the world we can show where there is a lot of things surrounding the audience.
Yeah. Yeah, what we also try to do is to play on these different levels of reality, meaning people see the actress virtually, but they hear her physically because she's right there in front of them. And so we've got also different sound sources, so her voice, which is physical, not with a microphone, as well as the surround system of 8 speakers all around the public, and the sound is spatialized.
Okay.
As well.
There was something very interesting about your project, and the ritual of going to a theater. You actually recreated it within your piece, or with your piece, that I would call LBT, location-based theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Virtual reality LBT, I would say. And you actually have the storytelling start at the very entrance of the venue and ending after the piece is over, right? And that was the interesting part, I thought, because you really include the audience in the entire process. Could you speak about this very quickly, because then we have to...
But for us, it was important to not to have people alone in a living room, but to, like you said, to keep what is very specific in theater, to bring people together. And on top of that, we add the actress. She's also there, and it's not like a 360 degrees video, but it's something you can only live right there with the actress, and this part was very important for us.
And even the putting on and the putting off of the headset, right? That was part of the storytelling.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
And I find that very interesting.
We find a twist so that the moment where they put the cask, the VR headset, is part of the fiction, actually.
Okay.
And maybe a last word is, because the premiere was last Saturday in Sierre, and the shows is still presenting until the end of November, till the 28th of November.
Okay, I'll come.
And there is 4 to 5 performances a day, so there is a few seats left, so feel free to ask us and we can book for you something.
That sounds great. So thank you, Michael, Christophe, and Emilien from the RGB project. And now we'll move on to Simon de Disbach, who came to us with a very thought-provoking piece called Limits, right? If you could speak about this.
Yes. Can I have the...
Thank you.
Just gonna wait on my keynote. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, it doesn't click.
Yeah, I have a keynote actually.
Yeah, it's here. No, that's yours.
Oh yeah. Hello everybody. So my name is Simon de Disbach. I'm very pleased to be here. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my background, and then I'm going to talk about what I'm doing right now. And first I'm finishing a master degree in Lucerne, in the University in Art and Design, and it's a master in film. And in parallel, I'm working in the research, which is called visual narrative. And actually, I studied at ECAL, and in 2014, I finished in 2014, and that's my BA. It was a VR installation, and I was kind of motivated to try to extend the medium of the VR by building this machine that actually produced the sound of the inside VR animation. And right after my study, I co-founded the studio Fragmentin with Laura Pernou and Marc Dubois, and and we developed a number of interactive installation, and that's an installation which is called 2199. And the idea was to, as the previous project, the idea was to extend the medium of the VR and to manipulate the audience. And after a couple of years, I left the studio, and I collaborated with my brother, Romain. And and we developed a sculpture. That's a series of 5 mirrors made out of iPhone, smartphone glasses, and concrete. And we exhibited it in Budapest, in the Ludwig Museum, and in the frame of the Dead Web exhibition. So yeah, that's the Tudor, and that's a close-up.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay, and 2 years ago, I noticed that brand new gravel pits was eating the forest where I used to run as a teenager. And I wanted to do something as a teenager, because I used to run a lot in that forest. It was like, this forest was like kind of escape, and And yes, so afterwards, I started a master in Lucerne, a master in film. And I had this idea to make a short film, and I wanted to digitize the forest and myself. That I'm gonna skip. And that's actually the first experiment I did with a motion capture suit. And I use a laser scan, a 2D laser scan to digitize the forest. And I did it with a friend of mine who is a really nice dancer. I just have to play it now. Is it possible to play the video? Or not? Maybe prefer. Okay, sorry. Yeah, there is no sound. Actually, there is sound. I don't know if it's possible to put the sound. No. Okay. Because the sound is really interesting as it's the real sound. Oh yeah. Okay, then I tried to find interaction between the environment and the protagonist. And that's the first test I did about my personal experience about running. Okay, and that's my final project, and so the final project it's called Limit, and Limit includes 3 chapters. The main one is a 1-minute animation short film, and then there is a VR film I'm trying to develop right now, and the third part is a print exhibition. And I'm gonna show you a last extract of my short film right now. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Oh, applause. There is something striking about this Limits short film. You went back to 2D after having worked extensively with 3D, but it's actually 3D tools used in a 2D format, right?
No, everything is 3D actually.
Yeah, it's all, yeah, but it's a short film.
Oh yeah, right. Oh
so
yeah,
it's a 2D format, but all the tools and the entire tech is 3D.
Yeah.
But you chose to be on a screen, a regular 2D screen.
Yeah.
How come?
Yeah, the thing is, for instance, for the short film, I, on purpose, I cut the environment, and actually there are some virtual shots which are in the forest and emerge in the forest, so you can hear the sound of the forest. and there are other shots which are outside of the forest. So then the sound and the perception of the forest is totally different.
Okay.
And even though it's like 2D, with the sound I could play, with this 3D perception.
So it's a 2D film and then an animation, a VR film, and a print exhibition. So it's four things.
No, it's a short film, it's a VR project, and a print exhibition.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, understood. Okay, thank you very much, Simon.
You're welcome.
I'm looking forward to checking out the VR experience. And we move on to laser and lights with Johanna Bruckner, who is... no, because I was joking before because I put his age right next to his name, like me, Alan, so-and-so years old. So you have worked extensively on light, and today you are presenting laser sensitive.
Absolutely, yeah. So thank you very much for this invitation. And I'm presenting laser sensitive, so I'm going to show maybe some parts of this project that did only appear here, not in the background. Good. So Laser Sensitive is a website, and it's a sort of an hybrid work of mine, as I'm a visual artist. And this project works, it works as a platform that hosts a series of web art works. And it also functions as a mediating tool for my practice. And all the content that you will find on this website inquires on the visual culture and the iconography of laser light. And as for many years, I've been using lasers in my practice in order to make holograms and exploring the unique properties of light through this tool that basically celebrates 61 years since its invention. And you will find, and my idea was to actually rather be involved with its representation instead of a lot of stuff popping up from Chrome, but that's the magic of web browsers. And yeah, all the content revolves around the representations of lasers and their histories and how they are present in our collective imagination and so on. And my idea was also inspired by also what happened during the protests in many cities during the last years, where protesters have been using also laser pointers toward authorities in order to blind cameras, in order to protect their identities. And I was very intrigued by this dynamic and this way of diverting the usage of this gadget that is also present a little bit everywhere. And as you will see, there is a lot of content, and I just invite you to fully explore it.
Thank you, Alan. You were speaking of them, there was one thing that struck me during our conversation. It was the surveillance aspect and the regulatory aspects of laser, and how you not denounce it, but sort of, yes, you're trying to raise attention towards what's coming up with laser, and the fact that we won't be able probably to use laser and holograms that easily in the future. So perhaps you could express yourself a bit about this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, on the website also, I put a small section about laws and restrictions, as over the years, as I've been using more and more lasers in my works, also to display my works, I became aware of new restrictions coming into force, basically. So it gets more and more difficult to use lasers in public space, and also situations that happen, for example, in Santiago in Chile or in Hong Kong or in Portland, will also hard to have to happen here because, I mean, a lot of these tools are hard to buy nowadays. So it was interesting to find how the restrictions of individuals are building up invisibly somehow around us, around these technologies, which need regulamentations, but also it's interesting to become aware of this losing of freedom of the individual somehow. And I'm also very interested in this stigma around this type of technologies like lasers, but also drones and surveillance cameras, which are very visible and confrontational technologies, which also bring away the attention from more invisible surveillance system for the internet, just for example, which, I mean, made the strongest surveillance just happen through social media, I would say. So for me, it was interesting to deal with that topic, and that's why this project, function as a mediating tool, but also like a platform for just web experiments somehow. So it's like an hybrid platform.
And acculturation, because the main public most probably doesn't know about laser light. I mean, it's something that we don't use in regular everyday life. And you were also stressing out that it's used a lot in research. So this part will keep its freedom, I guess. But have you been involved in a research?
Actually, yes. So my interest in laser also came actually or even more from a scientific perspective, as I started using lasers in order to create holograms, which needs like labs, what I'm saying, like tools coming from labs, scientific labs, in order to make them. And I already did some like experiences with lasers pretty freely just some years ago, and nowadays I couldn't do the same thing, the same way I did some years ago because of those restrictions, and it was just interesting to find it out. How these things are evolving around us without becoming fully aware of it somehow. But yeah, I mean, my interest in lasers, it's come from, more also on the physical phenomena underlying their functioning somehow, as they reveal a lot about how the light behave at a deep level.
I find that super interesting, and it's true that we live in an interesting time for regulatory frameworks being built right now around all the tech that we've been experimenting lately, and suddenly now it's going to be perhaps more restrictive, but also more protective. So
yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, it's of course extremely interesting to reflect on those restrictions and becoming aware what you can do with it out of these restrictions. That for sure. But it's also interesting maybe to understand what's disappearing around us while we are not aware of it somehow. And for me, it was just things changing under my eyes somehow, and it was very interesting somehow. Yeah. So to become aware of how things are changing. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Alan.
Thanks.
And you're at the Grütli, no?
Sorry?
You were at the Grütli, or you were at the Grütli?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I had my studio for a while at Grütli. Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
So now, thank you. We move on to Nadine Cosina, who is right there. Hi, Nadine, who will talk about rare necessities. She's live from Zurich, right? And I'll let you introduce your work.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and hi to everyone. So my name is Nadine Cosina, and I'm an interaction designer and artist from Zurich. I currently work at the Zurich University of the Arts as a research associate, and I also work in the field of UI/UX design. So recently I finished my master's studies in interaction design at the Zurich University of the Arts, and I did work on rare necessities there, the project which I present here. And I think I've always liked computers and the digital tools that are around us because it felt like an extension of my world and its boundaries. And something that is really important for me and my works is to make people really think about technologies. And I mean, because I think that the way we think about technology shapes our new innovations of tomorrow. So, and we as designers are in a position of power to actually help shape that. So, throughout the years, as an interaction designer, it made me think really differently about design in general. So, to not make only, I say, product proposals in the classical understanding of design, but to use it as a medium to think or to critique and manifest social phenomena, for example, in design or art. So I got more into speculative design or critical design. And a topic that interests me are small phenomena that happen every day alongside with technology. So, for example, last year I had the chance to present with my friend Ramona Sprenger our work, Do You Love Me? What My Computer Sees. And this is a work of ours, are both computers taking pictures of ourselves each time that we open them up. So I have this new layer there, a very voyeuristic view of this intimate relationship that we have on a daily basis with our computers. And yeah, especially the individual relationship that you can create with those technological tools is fascinating to me, and to move away from the typical functionality. So during my thesis, the 1.5 years in my master, I focused on the mundane parts of technology. So what resulted was a fiction, Rare Necessities, that challenges the way we perceive our everyday technological tools around us. So instead of being function driven or very efficient, we focus this time on very silly and mundane side effects that happen along our use with technologies. So one example of the tools that I made 5 speculative devices, and one is, for example, shaped like a laptop. It's the same size and very uncomfortable to hold, obviously. And the only thing that it does is to give heat to your lap. So that's the only function. You put it on your lap and you feel the heat that you usually feel when your laptop is overheating. So yeah, to have more this poetic connection to this tool. And I hope with this new insights, with this new perspective, you can gain some new ideas or perspective out of what technologies can be.
Thank you. Do you have a few pictures to share or visuals? Because I find
think
them
there is
so.
one.
Yes. It's so retro-futuristic in its design, and it's really neat. It makes you think of the household and appliance, big crave of the 50s. That's what we were saying, right? And why this look? Why this time? And that's my first question. And the second, I really like this object that looks like a smartphone but isn't a smartphone, and actually what we see here is only one hand playing with it, because it's what it brings to us instead of the content, but the object itself. Is that what speculative design is about?
So yes, about the phone, we use our phone to look out for a map or contact our friends. I don't know, so many things. But what we do most of the times is just really fiddle around with it, check if we have any messages and all of those movements because I think that the mere appearance of a phone makes us want to really grab it. And yeah, so I think this can be an essential part of speculative design to show an alternative to what our tools can be. It's not the future or a dystopian future, an utopian one. It's an alternative. And in my case, it's something very silly not innovative, but something that we already have. And yeah, so here the innovative part is just your thinking that shifts. And the other question about the aesthetics. So the image is not, is it there displayed somehow?
I'd love it to be displayed. I find it so lovely. Is it perhaps a critics of the consumption era we are hopefully slowly stepping off from, you know, with this 50s look?
Yes, because I think I really wanted to have this techno retro look, because as you said, in the 50s, all of the machines and, well, some fictions or movies had this super functional, innovative tools around you. So you could do anything with it. And mine is really completely the opposite. You can do one thing that is not so efficient for your everyday life. And that's a bit the satirical part, why I wanted to use this kind of aesthetics to make it, to make it not that obvious, and to not have a very dystopic view of that, but even I don't know, a bit a mysterious one that you kind of don't really get it, why they don't fit together. It's not typical, and I made it very slow, everything. So I think that's also some kind of different view on technology, to just sit there and absorb what is happening instead of being right there immersed and do fast stuff.
And reflect. Thank you so much, Nadine. And perhaps we'll say, there on the website there is, by the way, a little clip of each one of these wonderful art pieces. So if you want to visit each one's universe, then feel free to go to the GDM page of the gif.ch website. And now we'll move to Vienna to see Johanna Bruckner, who will speak about crush pad climax. Johanna, are you there? Yay, here you are.
Yeah, hello. Thank you so much for inviting me, for having me. I'm very happy here and to have listened to you, what you've already said. So, yeah, I'm an artist. I'm actually based in Zurich. And the last couple of years, I've actually been on residencies. Last year at the Istituto Svizzero in Rome, and afterwards at the Jan van Eyck Academy in Maastricht. I was also teaching at various universities around Europe and also in Zurich. So, but today I'm going to talk a little bit about crush pad climax. And for me, generally in my work, it's important that I set up affective experiences. So when you enter the space, I'm interested in sort of sound image-scapes that entangle and re-entangle the audience and the objects that are in the space. So very often I activate my visuals with objects, but also performers, because I'm interested actually in affective languages that result from in-between spaces. So in between the image and actually that what happens in space. So in the performative dynamics, so to say. And I'm gonna, recently I've questioned a lot what happens with our bodies when we are much more like work in the internet, as the internet, what happens to be human, to become inhuman in times of the post-internet, so to say, and what it means to have feelings, to have affinities, and actually to be connected, but also what it means to unsettle connection and connection points, and what artistic strategies we can find in order to question the ways how we connect and how we find ways to unsettle and resistance in the cyberspace today. And I've been exemplifying my research among actually pornography, like post-pornography. And so in this work, which I'm talking here now a little bit and discuss a little bit, I approach queer net pornography in terms of its affectively interwoven corporeality formed between sensation, technology, and labor within the internet. The core of this work is net porn data that dissipates, becomes lost, or fails because it is outside the spectrum of the usable. Aggregating data crumbs into corporealities of transition, I envision the potential of digital failure as a refusal to submit to contemporary data surveillance society. data valence society. In doing so, I disrupt predefined algorithmic encounters and constitute a speculative realm for illogical, ungraspable intimacies and desires. So, yeah, I've worked a lot around the body that we can grasp beyond its stable boundaries, so that body that dissolves itself. And I'm conceiving the porn stars that I've been working as prosthetics actually themselves, because they work with and as the internet. And I was very interested in talking to them actually what it means, to dissolve and as actually to go beyond their own subjectivities. And so yeah, probably I have 1 minute video. We can screen it, and then it would be nice to discuss. Maybe I also have an installation shot. Maybe we can have it first. Yeah, you can see this from an installation from the Helmhaus in Zurich, which was on show this summer. And you can see also I work with objects, as I mentioned previously. This is like the silicons refer to the waste, like I mentioned, the e-waste data, which are the source of these transcorporeal bodies that I create. But also these silicons, refer to like that, sort of the waste kind of in pornography. And maybe we can see the video for a minute, please.
Welcome back. So I had a question about, we spoke about these prosthetic bodies that you're showcasing in your work and what they mean, actually. Could you speak about it a bit? Explain, perhaps, to us what it is all about. Nope. Or not. So, waiting for you to come back from Vienna, I guess. We will start a little discussion. And first, I want to very openly ask you if you have questions among each other, perhaps because you haven't met all before being here on stage. No? I noted that there is, in your work, Simon, there is this denunciation of overproduction in a way, because they're taking away forest for a gravel pit. And in your work, Alan and Johanna, it's about the data surveillance society also that is creeping in on us. Do we want it or not? I mean, that's and you are also reflecting, Nadine, on the use of the tech objects that surround us. And I wonder, is it something of an activism for you, or in your, that you translate in your work? Or is it pure reflection and perhaps a philosophical, deeper, thought about this, about your surroundings? Simon?
Sorry, was the question to me? There was just a breakout. Everything was frozen, sorry.
But so, hold on, everybody, because my question was long, and so I can go back to you while you're thinking about my question. That was perhaps a bit too, fantasy. But so the prosthetic bodies, what they mean in your work, Johanna. I wanted to ask you that.
So, for me, it's interesting that, actually, I've been working a lot on quantum physics, or like I've been influenced by quantum physics and a kind of post-humanist, queer feminist take on quantum physics. And here we can see that, like not only matters, we can see actually that also matter is queer. We can speculate on matter being performative in itself, becoming only into being because it continuously touches itself, regardless of their sexes. So we can also say actually our matter has, kind of comes into being through sexual acts. But this extends into the virtual world, into the outer world. So at some point we can say that there are no longer boundaries between ourselves, like beings, human beings, non-human beings, and the virtual, the surroundings among us. And so when I'm speaking about prosthetics, for me, I want to highlight that claim that there's a kind of meshwork within technology, or like technology provides ourselves as connected in abstract ways, as melting into each other, as melting, speaking against each other, forming ourselves new because of the multiplicity that technology does with us in several ways, like be it conceptual, but also be it in technological ways. And I'm interested in this dynamic specificity. So like this being that comes out of every situation. So it's like we're we're not just put into the world, but we are out of the world in each specific situation. And in that way, we're no longer predefined, like our boundaries are not closed as subjects, but we are more than that. We are energy, we are forces that reach out into the unbound outer space, which actually we cannot see. And I'm interested in these traces that we leave all the time through technology, with technology, and also how we connect our affections and affinities. And these are the prosthetic bodies conceptually in myself, but also I call it transcorporeal in a way, because it's the body that goes beyond itself, dissolve itself into outer space. So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And so you're looking for bringing your work out in your residencies and perhaps to tour some more, because I wanted to have a little check on what you're wishing to achieve by by coming to the Swiss interactive sessions. So clearly for the theater VR play, it's to find venues, theater venues.
Well, not only.
Not only. Okay, so perhaps.
Yeah, but what's great with our piece is that we can have it in art spaces, in museums, in galleries, theaters. So it's quite a small setting. It's maybe 30 to 40 square meters. So it's not a huge one, and
it fits in here.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah, look at that. And what about you, Simon?
Actually, for my short film, I'm intending to send it to festival right now. It's like I think I'm gonna be done with it like in 1 month, something like this.
Okay.
And regarding the VR version, now I'm waiting on the answer for the funding. And if I get the funding, I would be happy to find a co-production, because I already have a production right now, a Swiss production.
Okay.
So yeah,
Let's talk about it. And Alan, for you, it's to expand the website perhaps and the research?
Yeah, exactly, actually. So in collaboration with different venues that will be interested to present this online project. And for me, it's about just collaborations and creating new content together, even maybe related to the context, to the geographical and cultural context where I'm presenting it.
Yeah, because you've been in residencies in Hong Kong and in Santiago de Chile, right?
Exactly, yes.
And that's where you kind of the activism part
resonates.
that was because of you, actually.
Exactly.
You know,
it resonates with this, with those topics. And Chile was in the past, and Hong Kong, I'm going there soon. So,
okay, sooner, you know, because it's been months, right?
Yeah,
okay, and you, Nadine, would you look for museum spaces? What type of exhibition space?
I mean, to me, the biggest goal is obviously to display my work, because I want people to I think I do to answer your question, my activism through the viewers of the work, that do the active thinking then. So yeah, that's why exhibitions, I always look for exhibitions and I mean spaces that welcome technological works in many different ways. I mean, my focus is mostly on the individual relationship that humans have with technology, and that can be a lot of things because these phenomena are everywhere. So either this work or new works, always open to that.
And Nadine, I'm wondering, but we'll speak about it perhaps separately, but if you collecting feedback on your work so that you create, you know, a data and a research related to this, and we can perhaps talk. But I'd answer,
not systematically, but I mean, I do remember a lot of people, because always when I'm together with someone in the exhibition or watching the movie, always they bring up a new story of what they saw in their everyday lives. So yeah, that's always really nice.
I think
a good idea.
That is interesting as well. And Johanna, what's your take? Because you've been actually living off your art, and you've been raising around the world, traveling around the world with your art, right? In residencies and
yes, recently, it's been nice to have time and space, because it's very important, because art really needs a lot of time, and as we all know. So I'm interested in working with institutions, with different contexts where I feel like the research is on point and depth, and there's an engagement behind. So I'm very interested in dialogues with curators, with interesting people, and then probably work on a commission together. But I'm just really interested in bringing out the message, and just connecting to spaces and institutions, and of course museum and galleries. I think the market is also very important for the arts, because it's you can only live sustainably when you are in the market, I think.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We will now continue with the second set of Swiss artists coming on stage, and we thank you very much, all of you, for presenting your multi-talented and it's transversal, I would say, multi-dimensional works. Okay, great. Thank you very much again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello back, everybody. So now we will welcome on stage Sebastian Galer, right? Seb, hi. And Teva Kwene,
Yes.
Who are part of the collective Curl, and they will speak of Brain Dead, their latest piece.
Yeah.
Well, video?
How can we call it? I don't know.
Go ahead, explain.
So hi everybody, I'm really pleased to be here. So my name is Sebastian Galer and yeah, I'm part of the collective Curl. We are based in Lausanne. We are experimenting since 2 years on new forms of, I would say, augmented music performance. And so we are 3 artists in the project, Teva here and Dario, which wasn't able to come here. So maybe you can present yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Teva Kwene. I'm a musician, so I have done my bachelor degree in Lausanne, the HEMU school. And I'm also a dancer and choreographer, so I also do I do music and dance for this project. And I'm also really passionate about speculative technology, the future, and all that stuff. So that's why I'm part of this collective.
And so then we have Dario, which is more the rapper of the group, the performer. He has a great sense of, almost as if he was doing theater all the time.
And it's mentioned MC. You know, so he's really the MC.
MC is the master of the ceremony.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's a good way to describe him. He's also a beatboxer. He can do all kind of weird noise with his mouth, and it's really nice to have. So we have all kind of competence here. Myself, I'm more a 3D artist. I do 3D since I'm a child, and I'm interested in a lot of cinematography, interactive design. And so we met together, so maybe you can explain that?
Yeah. So we were together in college, and so we were really close friends, and I really liked what he was doing. So all the visuals, all the graphic he was doing, and he also liked, I think, my music. So we began we were yeah, let's create something together. So the first things we have done together was so I was doing music and he was doing VJing for a concert, and yeah, that's how it began.
Yeah, and so we really liked to build worlds in 3D and build musical worlds too, because there is a lot of aesthetic that communicates things about world building in music. But then we met Dario too, and Dario really added this more, again, a theatrical sense to the show, and we really start to make something which is between the cinema, the live music concert, and the theater. And yeah, we are still experimenting with a lot of different media. We built some kind of a video clip, which is a video game too, recently. We have branded this performance. We are also doing CGI video clips. Yeah. So for branded, this project was more focused on the performance. So when we are doing a live show, we always have a bit like here, a big screen behind us. And yeah, in this project, we really ask ourselves the question, how can we mix the virtual reality with the physical one without breaking the connection that people have physically? Because there is something with live music show that really connects people is, I don't know, the eye contact between the people, the dancing, all the smell, maybe even all those physical things which are really important for us. So we tried to have the virtual worlds come to the scene with this big screen, which is really augmenting the space and merging the virtual and the physical worlds. Another big interest in Braindead was because when you are designing a live show, you always think in terms of choreography. Finally, like at this moment, the performer has to do that, and then he has to do that, and it's really cool, and it creates great results, and it can be used in a variety of ways. But here we tried to really use the interactive tools that we had with motion capture suits to empower the performer and to really enable him to almost do whatever he wants, like really go crazy, dance, do turns on him, and all of his movements were tracked and captured, and they would in real time change what the landscape behind him would be. So that was really, he told me after we did the first test, oh, that was crazy to be inside of this. It's so much empowering. It's as if you had total control on the virtual world which is around you.
Ooh, that's bad to know.
Yeah. So yeah, the main interaction that we have is that we did some tests. The idea was really to have the environment which is behind, which like follows the movement of the performer. Like if you turn on yourself, it's as if the virtual camera will move to compensate your movement. It really creates some kind of a parallax effect. It's pretty hard to describe, but when you see it, you directly you will know what I mean. And then we also had some interaction with the gesture of the performer, because in rap music you have a lot of, it's really rich in terms of gesture. So we mapped the movement of his hands on different lighting elements in the video clip. So again, he doesn't have to think about, oh, I'm going to do this because it's going to do that. It's just really intuitive, and yeah, that was the aim of the project.
So it's an original soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, of course.
because that was pretty cool. Do you have a clip?
I'm not sure it's here, but just go on the website.
Welcome in heaven, or at least what you think it is. Bouncing in the club, getting drunk, easy glee's been the model. The path you followed, the reminiscing of the years you went down in the gutter. Gotta take a step back out of the herd, cause I heard that you had the lifestyle, didn't seem to work, and you were it sick. But again, I don't believe you get it. You don't get to pick your poison when you won't drink it. Getting to the core won't spare a soul. You need more than a parasol to shield you from what radiates above. The dark flies, it's your love lies, so you relax, spiraling down again on the same track, slugged up in the maze in your mind.
That is really staged, and I guess that's you, right, Teva, who did the very specific
So we have
traditional
both,
type.
Yeah, we have both like worked on like specific times, like what he should do at that time, what he should do at that time, because like there is still like timelines that he has to follow. But in general, like he can move like anywhere, like like everything like just follows his rotation, on this axis. Yeah.
Okay, so you have traditional and intuitive choreography. That's what you were saying.
Yeah.
And that's and how long is the clip? Or how long is the performance?
4.5.
Yeah, something like this. Yeah.
And you watch it.
You watch
live.
it in
VR.
Yeah, in 2D.
No, in live.
Yeah,
it's really meant to be shown in a live concert format. Like,
okay. All right.
And yeah, if I can just add something on the, like, it's part of a trilogy that we are working on, and we really took this cyberpunk aesthetic and tried to have stories that really ask questions about all those problematics that would come in this cyberpunk future, which is not, which will not probably comes as it was thought to be, but yeah, we have a lot of ideas about all this techno-positivism that I don't know, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos try to sell us. This future could be like this, and what does that mean, and how would that change the human societies, and
I mean, it's going to be, it's still going to be this multimedia music performance.
Yeah.
The three
the trilogy.
Chapters. Yeah. Okay, and every time with a new original soundtrack.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. Speaking of soundtracks, we go to Georg Bleikholm and Valerius Polettini from the company Acres to speak about Continuum. which also highlights music and, yeah, a theater venue.
Thank you, Laetitia. Yeah, thank you for the invitation. Super exciting to see so many people work with heart at the same focus and stuff. Especially you guys, super young, super
yeah,
cool.
Right.
It's really amazing. So we are Compagnie Across. It's just two of us today. We are a collective of 7-8 persons at the moment. With different competencies. I initiated the project kind of through the last project where I invited all these people to work on an immersive theater piece that's entitled Au bord de l'eau. So yeah, Valerio Spolitini, you want to introduce
Yes, I'm coming from the visual art. I do audiovisual installation, immersive. I work with light, with lasers, video projection, always trying to change the how you see space and architecture. Yes, quite big topic, but make it short here.
Yeah, we have space and we have sound. That works well together.
Exactly. So we're here to talk about Continuum, which is kind of the follow-up project of this last performance that we staged at the Gesnerallee Theater in Zurich. Yeah, so basically the Continuum is meant to be a framework to work in the performance space that's set in the hybrid space. So basically what we want to achieve is to create a network of institutions. So we want to talk with institutions in the realm of theater and music, so basically music venues, theater venues, to create a network of what we called a meta space, and basically a meta space. And I'm sorry about the meta here, but that was before.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Come on, we were there before.
It's not copyrighted.
Shit.
Anyway,
Meta space.
Meta space is simply you have a physical room and you model the digital sibling of this room, and you take both together, and yeah, this setting kind of allows you to perform in something that is something like a hybrid space. Yeah, bound to this, it would be super interesting to work with different, creative people and to get network and start to work in this setting. And so the way I envisioned it in the concept, and I did some super stupid drawing, and give this to the funding institutions, basically. So the idea is that you have this meta space, and with each meta space, you can combine a story world, like for example, in the means of your brain dead, different stories you have, or whatever existing stories like theater plays and stuff, like stuff that already exists and that you can adapt to the theater, you adapt it to a hybrid venue and stuff. Anyway, so you have the story world, the meta space, and then, and I know it's wrong, we have what we call, for me, a metaverse. So yeah, I mean, put somehow, you could stay in there probably forever, so maybe, yeah, somehow it is a metaverse in the larger thinking. And basically, the continuum is if you take all these, at some point, we hope there will be some spaces that will connect to this framework, network, or however you want to call it. And you have these metaverses, and then you have X amount of metaverses, and that would be the continuum. So it's kind of a multiverse of that's, yeah. And the beautiful idea about it, what I hope would be beautiful, it's that it would be a continuous flow. It would never stop, So it would allow us to. So it was kind of a reaction to the whole thing we went through. So yeah, the last creation was a virus-driven creation. It was weird to do. We achieved to do something. We adapted in terms of diffusion and stuff. So we tried out stuff. We tried out stuff with immersion. we went steps and stuff. And so basically, yeah, the continuum would allow us basically to, you know, whatever happens, we could still work and still do stuff that is coherent with our production flow and stuff. So basically, that's what I want to advocate with the project. And the way we do it is basically, we start to work in our group. We have competencies that we need to as well. We have to admit this to you know, there are still holes to fill here and there. It's not perfect, but anyway, we have the competencies to work on a prototype, a stage design, and a diffusion, how to say, process that would kind of encompass all the things I was talking about in the last 3 minutes, basically. And basically, in the end, after, the idea is to travel around a bit in the venues with the prototype, and then start, you know, think of how we can create this funnel and add content and open the platform, think of how we can reposit elements of this network framework that are important for creative people to work. And
yeah, and maybe as you said, there is light and music, you said, but there is also dancers. We were thinking also of poetry or any act, basically, that could be mostly welcome in our frame.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's also a call of, that's why I'm super happy to see that so many good things are happening.
Yeah, it's good. And there have been several, at least, initiatives that I know of around the, you know, a space for a dematerialized space for a cultural venue, and that could be in completion to physical venues. And we'll go there. We just need, you know, the funding.
Yeah, on one side, yeah, that's true, yeah. So it will need funding, that's definitely true. But it needs to be so done, and we need to start somewhere. So basically, that's what we're doing at the moment. Yeah. We're trying to kickstart this. We are already in contact with 2 venues, which is the Gessnerhalle in Zurich. We went there to scan the venue already, and start to build the 3D model.
The GIF, yeah, we need to see. Yeah, and synergies can be created. And you know what? The beauty of your project as well, and it is also its singularity, is the open source mentality of it. If you could speak a bit about this.
Yeah, I mean, open source is a big word and stuff, but definitely that's what I said before. Like, yeah, we are working in a group because we have to start somewhere. So we start to work, and but definitely the idea is then to invite people to step in as performer or yeah, whatever. The open source character, I think, and that's why the exchange with the venues is important and stuff. Is if you work a bit with venues, you will know what I'm talking about. You have stuff that is like available, information that is available about the venue, mostly in terms of audio and light. But like the digital department is completely lacking, you know, there's like, it's non-existent. So basically for you guys, if you have like a model, like, you know, a model file of the room you're gonna play in, and yeah, that kind of allows you to play to go into this extended and hybrid interaction with the room, it's super useful. And at the moment, there is no systematic so yeah, that's what I'm talking about, and that's why I want to talk with the venues as well. And we are talking to a few of them. I told you. And,
it would make sense for them as well on a, you know, on a visibility, business model, whatever aspects. I mean,
sure. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we work on. So we are hands-on. We are a bunch of people. I just want to quickly maybe say what the people are, and then I'll give you the word again to close the thing. So basically, we have Maximiliano Quinones. He's versed in immersive audio. So there will be this dimension as well in the project. He's a violin player. He's a super good violin player, so he has this asset as well.
Sylvie Chan.
Exactly.
Super great dancer. She comes from China and lives between here and Berlin. Exactly. And
yeah, Steve Buchanan, saxophone player, like a performer, old cat. He was a long time in Geneva and now moved to Zurich. Simon Broggi, who does the whole interaction design. Exactly.
Maya.
And Maya Minder, who works on set and setting. Maybe just something I want to add here is like, there is a lot of things going on. So we were talking, for example, the day before yesterday with Gilles Jobin and his practice in real-time performance and how to say, telematic performance and stuff like this. So we're well aware that all this is happening, and I think one thing we have to envision at the beginning is in order to be able to move in these venues and stuff, it will be probably easier if the setup is kind of, clear and relatively easy to transport, relatively easy to set up, relatively easy to get the hands on and stuff. So that's the perspective we try to go to. It's not like a AAA incredible, so it will be the best it can, but
it doesn't have to. Do you want to make it just as the reality? Because often people who commission work, or they come to you and they say, oh, I want to recreate the plaza. Or do you want an idea of the plaza? What would you want in your world?
I would say an optimal setup that doesn't require much of a heavy technical installation. We are working on that at this moment, so it's a easy setup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not too heavy as well.
Yeah, not too heavy. In terms of motion capture, for example, I mean, you guys are working with a mocap suit. I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's not expensive, for example, but it is not expensive as long as you have one performer.
Yeah.
So then, So what we look into at the moment is more like a depth cam and stuff like this. I mean, if we take, for example, Gilles Jobin, I went to his studio. They have already 26 cameras for their mocap system. They are building 16 more, so they have a mocap system that already worth, I think, over 100,000 Swiss francs. So we cannot await the theaters and the music venues to go invest in something like this. That's not going to happen, or maybe it's going to happen, but maybe it's going to take a longer time. So yeah, that's the other perspective I wanted to talk about. And the word out is basically, we're happy to meet you all here. We've been talking with some super nice people already, and it'd be nice to keep in touch the next year and see what will happen.
And mutualize as well, right? Mutualize the effort to make a stance and to have a bit of power.
Yeah, you can help us there, no?
Lobby,
maybe.
Lobby, just lobby. No, but I mean, because this is one question. This platform would actually be somewhere you could accept all types of performances, right? As long as they can be digitized.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be live. It has to be somewhere in the realm of performing arts. So what I see is a music theater. Theater is live music. I think the beautiful thing about immersion, so it's maybe just going back to, I think storytelling is super important. If you want to keep people, bound to media and come back to the media and stuff, you have to offer, content that is, it doesn't have to be linear and stuff, but there has to be like, a hook you want to go back and see. So there is this storytelling dimension to it that is definitely important. And it's kind of recurrent in my work as a musician and as an artist, and that's what I do. Basically, I'm going to do more of this, and I'm going to do it more together with my new friends in the company across, and and maybe we can create this multiverse together at some point in life. Maybe not. I don't know. It's just an idea, basically.
The musiverse, the metaspace. You said, right? There was something with the. No, like a meta collective. What were we saying? We shouldn't give the word out.
Exactly, the meta collective. Yes.
The meta collective.
Be fundraised by Facebook.
No. For once, by the OFC, I don't know, you know,
maybe,
lobby. Okay, well, so we'll move to Bern virtually. Hello, where Annie Arias and Marcel says, both of them performers and composers, will speak about their Zoom and music performance, I guess, that is called metric displacement. And I'll let you introduce yourselves and the project. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Annie Arias. Thanks so much for having us. Okay, so we've been working on a project called metric displacement, and we were 3 musicians actually. Brian House is the third part of this project as well, and he's unfortunately not available today. But yeah, it's the 3 of us electronic musicians based in Providence, in Portland, and in Bern. So we've been quarantined last year when we started this project, and we exhibited actually 3 turntables in 3 different spaces, and we exhibited loops, and they contained beats and clicks and cuts, which were like streamed via Zoom and only heard them 3 together simultaneously whilst you were registered in that Zoom meeting.
Okay, but it was via vinyl, right? You actually had those loops cut into a lock groove, right, on vinyl records. And then you would put the vinyl on a turntable and you would then produce your own sounds together. So it's like a 360 circle of what you've produced and what comes out of it, right? And then you would perform all together on Zoom. Do I understand correctly?
Well, is it okay if I take this one, Annie?
Sure.
I was going to say, yes, that's absolutely true. So the 3 of us across the globe, we all made loops, and they were cut into these locked grooves on vinyl. And it is true that we all 3 of us have a music background, but we're all artists also. We're all media artists also. And so in the pandemic, when everything all of a sudden moved online and many musicians were sort of struggling to do their band rehearsals on Zoom or on Skype, just because obviously it's not going to work out because of latency, we thought, oh, but there are not yet any gallery shows for Zoom or for Skype or for any online galleries like video conferencing system. Why would you go to a meeting with someone when you could also actually use it as an exhibition space? And so we played these 3 vinyl records from 3 different locations, as you said, Laetitia, and then the composite sound, the 3 voices of all 3 locations came together only on Zoom. So only there you could actually experience the full 3 voices, but our installation was really meant to play asynchronously. Like if you just loop these 1.8 second loops, it's in fact very boring. So we were really looking for these distortions in time that are so intrinsic to the online medium. And we found that actually these exact distortions make it interesting. And so it's an installation about the temporal distortions of the pandemic in a way. But now we're going on with it, and we're of course interested in knowing what happens with it after the pandemic. And we're also, we're very much, as you say, so we're performers, but this is an installation. So we're interested in seeing what other people, what the audience does with our installation when they're experiencing it on Zoom.
And I have a question about what you do with this time you spend together on Zoom. Is it a performance that is recorded and then that can be sold, for example, as an NFT, or is it because it has a bit of NFT feeling in it, I have to say. You could make it, you know, very precious because the outcome is always serendipitous, right?
Mm-hmm.
I lost you. No, you're still there, I mean, but virtually. But yes, I was wondering about, so every time you have a recording on Zoom, what's happening with that recording?
So, as a matter of fact, it's an installation. These record players, they just run on their own. We're not even there. We're not performing it. So, as an audience member, you go to the Zoom meeting and you expect that there is going to be people like every day, you know, in a Zoom meeting. But there is no people. There's just record players. And so you find yourself confronted with 3 record players with just the coordinates of where they are in the world. And there is sound, of course, and you're just going to figure out what it is. But as opposed to the 2 projects that have been presented here before, we're not so much into high tech or any sort of motion tracking or anything. It's a very low fee project, and we're using vinyl because it adds this sort of materiality to sound that you don't have when you just listen to music on YouTube or on Spotify, where, you know, music is very immaterial. So we're using vinyl to sort of emphasize the material body on which, like, the music is stored on. And it's not music, it's just sound loop. It's just silly loops that are very short and that loop endlessly.
Yes, but there is still serendipity linked to that, right? Because if you go in the booth at one time, then perhaps you will have more vinyls playing than other times, right? If I understand correctly from your little capsule video that I viewed before. So sometimes there are many artists or many vinyls at once, and then sometimes there are just a few, right?
So there's always serendipity, yes, absolutely. There's always different loops playing at each location, but there's always only 3 locations, so are 3 locations.
Excellent. And do you keep on adding loops and cutting new locked grooves to vinyl records, or will it stay right as it is now?
I could take that one if that's fine for you, Marcel. So basically, that's a good question, because we intended to go there. Like Brian went to his place, Marcel went to his, and I went to my exhibition place, and we changed the locked groove day by day for 10 days while it was exhibited. So that was serendipity as well, because we were randomly changing the lock grooves individually, so the outcome was every day a different one.
Oh, excellent. Okay,
But just to add to what Annie was saying, if I may, the first iteration of this installation is done, is finished, and it's been presented by Swissnex in San Francisco last spring, and now we're sort of looking forward to re-exhibiting, but to produce versions of it, and we're already working on a sort of successor project where we're more and more interested in, okay, now this is what we did in the pandemic, in lockdown, where we could not physically meet. What can we now do as we move to a more physical world again? How can we create, and how can we take what we learned in the pandemic with us and make installations after the pandemic which exist in a very hybrid sonic technological world where we can do things that we haven't done before. So that's where we're at now.
Excellent. So from the hybrid, you will go even more hybrid, in a sense. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. And we now welcome Rebecca Friedli, and I hope we have also Nathalie Camber online from Dakar, Senegal, right? From Collective Béton. Hi, Dakar. So Yeah.
Thank you.
She makes us all very jealous. And yesterday she showed us the blue sky. So, yeah. Please introduce your work that is called Skies, speaking of blue skies.
Thank you, Laetitia. Thank you for having us here. Natalie, I will just go on and talk about the project, right? So Natalie and me, we are Collective Béton, and together we realize short films and audiovisual installations. We met at film school in Zurich, and we were both rather drawn to experimental film and video essays than the classical cinema. Mit dem Blick nach oben was our first common project we realized. It was at Neubad Lucerne in 2016. That's the picture showing. And in our work, we focus on things we oversee quickly in our everyday perception. So by taking a different perspective or a different distance maybe to something, we find out that there is a space opening up where an image that maybe otherwise would be very certain suddenly is vague and not so clear from the first view. And in that field, we have the ability to get in contact in a new way. So this is something that is really important for us and that we're working on. In this case, it meant that the idea of Mit dem Blick nach oben was influenced from the space itself. So we came up with the idea of having a horizontal screen where people would lie on the floor and looking from below up, and also that we would film all the footage from this angle. So we took a GoPro and we went wild to just discover what we could find. Yeah, exactly. There is another one.
How long is the piece?
It's about 20 minutes loop, exactly. Then Skies is kind of, the idea for Skies is kind of an extraction of the potential we saw in the work. And I'm going to talk a bit about the working process in that project. We really were inspired by the body lying on the floor and having this sensation of lying and being carried and at the same time open towards the up. So in Skies we thought of a round screen, and also from the beginning it was important to involve the sound, to have a sound that is more like a dome where you would be surrounded by or inside. So from this vision, we created a concept. In 2019, we won the fast track from Zurich Film Foundation, which kind of gave us the push to realize the project. And we continued with a phase of a lot of testing. This was in the first phase of the project. The conceptual structure is very important for us in order to give a frame, and so that we were able to realize the project, we really had to make sure that we would be able also to do it on the technical level with the projectors and all that material.
Is it at the ZHDK?
No, that was in a space we could just use for the testing part.
Thank you.
Yeah. So within that very concrete, specific, defined space of the concept, the production would of the film production would take place, and there we would open up a bit, or it felt like stepping a bit back and give the images the chance to evolve, to be created. Sometimes we would just shoot 1 or 2 images a day, just because we wanted to see where they go or how they develop. That was a very creative moment, where we would also involve people from outside who would help us in specific phases. Exactly, production. It was a bit similar in the editing phase then. We don't have a screenplay or a script that is written down and telling like that's the first image and then comes that. We just have a collection of ideas, and what we did was just line them out on the kitchen table and building the narration, which is a loop. The video that we edited is 30 minutes long. And this kind of circle was a guideline for the editing, but there we also always try to leave a space for intuition, for things falling into places, for puzzles matching, because it's a lot about transitions, it's a lot about connections that cannot be thought in advance somehow, we found out. There we worked with the editor, Aurora Fegali, really went with us in that process. And then there was the music and sound design also, which is a very important part of the project. And this image shows skies last summer, where we would really build it for the first time and have the actual thing, like the structure, the concept, and the video coming together, which was an amazing experience for us. Maybe something about our collaboration also is that we have a lot of things we share, but we also have a lot of contrasts, and that's, I think, something that really gives us a drive in our work. We also try to combine our knowledge from the film industry, from the classical film production maybe, and from fine arts, from the site-specific works, video installations. And by bringing in people from outside who share a bit the same vision of not looking on where something ends and there is a border we cannot go over, but like to mix and to create something new that is bigger than just a single one. Yeah, that's a bit our vision we want to go.
And so this is a bit like a video mood board, I would say, but then you had you did a very deep work on each picture of the mood board and also on the sound design, because there were a music composer and a sound designer involved in this project. Perhaps you can talk about it.
Yeah, we worked together with Rahel Zimmermann, who's a music composer. She already did projects on her own, working with three-dimensional sounds, and also with Gina Keller, who is a very, very talented sound designer. Who's coming more from the film cinema, and together we were already discussing ideas in the process before the shooting, and then also during the shooting we would send them footage. They would start to do a mood board. They would send each other things. So at the end, it was really a mixture of sounds that were recorded on set, but also sounds from Gina, music from Rahel. So it was very important for us to give that a place, really, yeah.
And what I like to stress also for this work, for this installation, is that it's the total opposite of the VR location-based theater before of the RGB project. It's actually, you can dive in and dive out. You don't need on and off boarding. It's a flow, so you can come, go, stay, show, feel the loop once, twice. It's really something, an installation that you mentioned as being pleasant, right? And but a pleasant that does affect you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How?
Well, it's pretty much experience-based, so it's really about being there, physically lying on the floor, and experiencing how it feels like if something heavy comes towards you, or if you're flying through a valley, or it has a lot to do with sensation and emotions, where we try to touch things. And it's very important for us that the visitors choose how long they want to stay, where exactly they want to lie down. If they want to see 1 round, 2 rounds, or after 10 minutes they are out again. It was important for us that it's open for the visitors to choose.
And so now you're looking for this installation to find venues, of course, and you didn't come alone. I mean, well, you're here, Natalie, anyway, but there is also Kevin Rodriguez, who is your sales and distribution partner, and who came in once the work was done, the creative work was done, but who is helping you actually distribute the work now, and so you're looking for venues, if I understand correctly.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we're really glad to have him because the size of the construction is quite. It's like 8 to 8 meters.
Again, it fits in here.
3.5 the height. So it's not that easy to find venues who have the capacity. Together with Kevin from Planisphère, we're looking for venues now that are open for such projects. Yeah.
Okay. So have you recovered your sound, Natalie, so that we at least,
Can't hear you, but you probably can hear me now.
Yes, yes.
I can hear you too.
Excellent. So we'll just wave, Do you see us? Yeah. We'll wave. Okay, so any questions from the audience? Any questions among yourselves? I guess this is a very good discussion to have, and to, as you were saying, Gary, to keep on having within the immersive multimedia, whatever art scene in Switzerland.
Maybe a question for you. Do you think about kind of a standard for AR shows or something like that? I don't know, for example, that there is now on stage there's kind of standards. Do you think about maybe that in your?
Yeah. So basically, the way we went for until now is stage design, make an immersive stage design, and we used physical cameras until now. And for me, the standards will be to work with, in terms of it to be hybrid, in terms of captation and access. You will simply have to work with physical and digital cameras. I think that's the first thing you'll have to do in terms of diffusion, hybrid content. And then staged, I think there is many I mean, that's what we are looking at the moment. There is not infinite, but there is lots of combination you can achieve using the different production technologies that are at hand. And, and
I am sorry, but I have to cut you off. And you can, but like I was saying, the discussion can go on off stage. Sorry so much for the next panel. And sorry. But
guys, sorry,
yeah,
guys.
we're jumping off the stage right now, Natalie. All right, thank you so much for having us here, all of us. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining from afar.